saw an interesting set of definitions today from a man named Nir Eyal. I assume that's the way you pronounce it, at Nir Eyal on Twitter. He was talking about two concepts and gave a definition that I thought was really, really powerful. The first definition that he gave was distraction. And his definition of a distraction was anything that moves us away from our goals. So anything that moves us away from our goals are distractions. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that every single distraction is bad, but in terms of achieving your goals, a distraction can be a very negative force towards achieving that goal because it's something that moves you away from your goals. And his argument is that most people see the opposite of distraction as focus. And his concept is, no, it's not focus, it's traction. So dis means away from, against, traction. So distraction, away from, against. And so his argument is that traction is things that help move you towards your goal. Now, if I think about it, when I think about traction, I live in Wisconsin. Right outside, there's a walk. And that walk, I have to get out and shovel. And sometimes after it comes down and creates ice, and then it snows on top of that, I'm out there trying to shovel it. And the thing I need most desperately is traction. I need something because that ice is slick as can be, and my feet are trying to gain traction to enable me to move towards where I want to go. I loved that concept of traction. So the key question is, what can you do to go from distraction, things that move you away from your goal, to traction, things that move you towards your goal? And one of the things, and now I'm going off of what he was talking about because he's got some great concepts that he teaches, but I want to go down a path that my mind went down, was asking myself regularly the question, is this thing that I'm doing or that I'm planning to do or that I turn towards, is it a distraction or traction? Is it moving me away from my goals or is it moving me towards it? And the interesting thing is that it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to constantly be heads down and nose to the grindstone and focusing and doing everything, because we can't do that all the time. We physically and mentally are unable to focus for more than a few hours each day. But the thing that I have realized over the years is that there is a difference between rest and distraction. Let me show you a few examples of that difference. Watching YouTube. There's a lot of us who it's like, okay, I've had a rough day, or meeting was incredibly tough, or hey, I got half an hour before dinner or whatever. I'm just going to turn on YouTube. And so you can turn on YouTube and watch stupid people riding their bike off their roof kind of videos, or cat videos, or watch your favorite band or whatever. Or what if you turned on YouTube and searched for something that you need to understand better, or search for the topic that you teach about and get some other people's perspective on it? And so the time that you would have been spending watching YouTube anyway, instead of watching a waste of time YouTube video, you're watching something that actually builds you, that gives you traction, because it's moving you closer towards your goal. It's the same activity. You still get okay, I'm not having to work, but instead of filling your mind with nothing or junk, you're filling it with value that move you towards your goal. There's a simple example. Let me show you a few others. How about social media? Now, I know there are a lot of people who really hate what social media does in their lives. Well, a few years ago, I went through my Facebook feed and I went and purposefully followed people who were giving content on Facebook about the things that I am interested in, the things that I need to know about, the things that I am researching, the things that I am working on. And so when I go to Facebook, now I keep cropping up because I add somebody or something like that. But to me, Facebook is oftentimes a very valuable activity because I go and it's showing me one article, one post, one piece of information, one piece of data after another about what it is that I am interested in, that I need to know, that I'm teaching, that I'm, etc. And so social media has gone from being a royal waste of time. And you know what? My old college roommate can have a grandchild, and I don't need to know about it. My friend can go to dinner at a fancy restaurant, and they will have gotten the exact same amount of joy without me knowing that they did it. Someone can have a fight with someone else, and I don't have to be involved. Social media can be a choice as opposed to a socialized thing where we all pay attention to everybody else's life. How can you turn social media into traction instead of distraction? Here's another one. Email. I'm not doing this right now. And I realized as I wrote this card, I need to get back and do this. At one point, I had a virtual assistant who part of their job was to go through all my email, pull out the 3 to 5 emails that were important that day and send them to a private address that I only knew, and everything else they either handled or they killed or whatever. What an incredibly powerful thing to take you from having to read all these emails, and one of the worst concepts in the world ever invented is inbox zero. Don't go there, but forget that for the moment. But they handle all that, and the only thing you've got to do is process the 3 to 5 emails that are really important to you. And remember, you don't have to read every email that someone sends you. Here's another one, exercise. There are a lot of people who very frankly use exercise as a way to escape life. Every time they get stressed, put on the shoes, we're out of here, we're going to go run or whatever. I'll just give you an example. This thing that we're doing right this moment started with me seeing a tweet by Nir 45 minutes ago, and then I went and walked for 30 minutes, and during that time, the entirety of this live video that I'm doing right now was structured in my mind. That's the way I use my exercise time, is to ponder, to create, to think through, to analyze, to get traction. How about this one? Friends. Now, I realize that in a COVID world, friends are a little different than a non-COVID world. But if your friends are saying, hey, forget all that, let's go to the bar, forget all that, let's go do this or whatever. And if those friends, while they're there, saying, what are you doing getting involved in this online business? Why don't you go get a job and be safe like everybody else? Let me tell you, those friends are now a distraction. They are moving you away from what it is that is your goal. And perhaps you should figure out ways to not spend time with those friends. You don't need distractions in your life. How about this one? A course. But Don, you sell courses. How could you say a course is a distraction? Well, think about it this way for just a moment. Let's say that you are creating a course that you're going to do a launch on. And you get 23 emails from people offering this new program that closes on Friday at midnight. And so you've got to get it now and you'll never have a chance to see it again. That is about, I don't know, how to make thousands of dollars doing affiliate marketing or whatever. Okay. I've just pulled something off the top of my head. Your job right now is to complete and market that course, not to go investigate this new butterfly that just came along. I have a number of friends over the years who literally go from one course to the next, to the next, to the next, or at every single conference, and oftentimes you're spending $30,000-$40,000 a year on different people's high-end masterminds, and they never actually do anything. All they do is learn. Those courses are distractions for them. They are excuses that are helping them not to achieve their goals. I could go on, give you a whole bunch of examples, but let me encourage you to ask a question that I think was incredibly valuable from this entire process. Does this thing that I'm going to do or I'm thinking of doing move me away from or towards my goal? And by the way, we could ask a secondary question. If it's moving me away from, could I do it in a different way that will move me towards my goal? Think about that. How could you do more of every day having undistracted time? In other words, traction time that move you towards your goal. We'll have another conversation about things like calendaring and focus time and those kinds of things. But I think just this concept, does it move me away from or towards my goal, asked 5 to 10 times a day, can suddenly cause you to be way less distracted and have way more traction in your life towards your goals. All right, let me know in the chat. I have a very specific question for you. What is your biggest distraction? What is the thing that you keep doing that actually moves you away from your goal that you have recognized from what we just talked about, and I'm sure you've recognized it from a lot of other things, that you need to lessen or better yet eliminate in your life? Tell me that in the chat. And then let's support each other in this process. Is this moving me towards or away from my goal? This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.